The travellers coming into this country told to be careful because of crime, civil unrest and drought. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, crime is a major component, obviously, of tourism growing in South Africa, and it's been not necessarily uniquely a South African problem. However, in South Africa, with crime being a little bit more intensified, it does create a problem for us in terms of destination competitiveness. So it is a challenge for us, but it is something which is part of our normal challenges.
Do you think we would see a marked drop in tourism when such warnings like this are issued? In other words, would people say, well, 1 minute, I'm coming to South Africa as we enter the summer months, they see the advisory and they go somewhere else?
Not particularly a huge or significantly marked drop, perhaps in international tourist numbers, maybe not so much in our regional numbers. But it is a concern for us because obviously people, when they travel, they have crime or their safety as a priority on their list. And that obviously is a concern for tourism going forward. Some
of the warnings that are issued, though, make sense, whether you're in Johannesburg, Cape Town, New York, Mumbai or Tokyo, I guess. Travellers advised to avoid walking alone, particularly after dark, fair point, to not display cash or valuables, drive with doors and windows locked, carry a copy of your passport, conserve water. We've spoken about the drought. All of that kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Those are usual warnings that tourists really look for when looking to travel to a destination. Perhaps it might be a little bit more intensified in the media, and therefore they may be a little bit more worried to come to South Africa.
So how, I wonder then, does the tourism lobby in this country work to mitigate against a warning like this?
Well, I think that marketing is a very important component here. So, people in charge of our image overseas, so like South African Tourism and the National Department of Tourism, it would be a very important task for them to try and to address in order to change the image or at least to push a more positive image out there. And our presence online in terms of reviews online and obviously feedback from previous travellers becomes significant as well.
But you would have seen the crime statistics from last week. Difficult to market, surely, a positive message against a debilitating backdrop like that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's not necessarily an overnight thing. It's obviously years and years of creating an image and this destination image in order to be able to powerfully market South Africa as a competitive destination. It's not something which we can necessarily do overnight.
Do we do enough then in that respect, both from an external marketing point of view, but also when tourists arrive in this country for the very first time, perhaps as they set foot in Cape Town International or it's Oliver Reginald Tambo International, perhaps more messaging of caution needs to be articulated?
I think messaging of cautioning, might just re-emphasize obviously the negative component of it. I'm not sure if they would do that, but I think a lot more effort needs to be possibly put into harnessing a more positive experience or at least a positive image for those coming in. And reassuring them that it is a destination just like any other which has similar risks, and the payoff in terms of our beautiful country will outweigh those risks.
But I'll play devil's advocate. Are there really similar risks when 57 people in this country are murdered every day?
Well,
surely the risk is much higher.
Yeah, well, the risk is higher if you look at it that way. But at the same time, we do have tourists coming in every day and seeing this beautiful country, and I think that risk perhaps could be taken on by international tourists if they really want a good experience here in South Africa.